What's up guys, it's me Dmca, and we are back with another Hengel news. That's right, it is Ask 343 time. It's that time of month, and this time we're actually going to be listening to the audio team. So I am aware that there's been quite a focus recently from the community on the sounds of the weapons and different sounds of Halo. I know that the team has been putting out quite a bit of content around that to give to the players in the community. I haven't touched on it personally because I'm not too interested in it, but you know what, let's actually see what people have been asking now that we've got this information. As always, 343 Industries made this video about 30 minutes long, so we'll be shortening the answers for you and getting them straight to you without all the babble. Let's get into it. So the first question is, with the new acoustic system, does it allow players immediately on either side of the same wall with no portals to hear each other's location similar to other games? Or does the room and portal pathfinding completely take precedence? So this is a very complicated way of putting the question of, will we be able to hear people through walls like there are no walls whatsoever? What they're saying in this is, you will be able to hear people through walls, but it will be muffled, so you can tell if somebody's in a different room, and it will basically sound naturally like somebody was shooting a gun in a different room, as opposed to shooting a gun with no walls around at all. So that's kind of interesting. The next question is, I am all for the direction of the OST in Infinite, but my question is, will there still be some somber / emotional tracks? And the example that they've listed is heavy price paid, as that made them feel some emotions of the betrayal for the Arbiter. So the answer to this is pretty simple. Yes, there are going to be some emotional moments, there's going to be some emotional tunes to go with that as well, and if it's going to be anything like heavy price paid, then yes, it will be absolutely amazing. They can't really show us that or tell us about it because it will be spoilers, but there are going to be highs and lows. That's how they've described it. The next question is, will we see the classic Overcharge hum for the plasma pistol back in Halo Infinite? It's really cool seeing the studio embracing the 2 decades of Halo audio and trying to weave legacy into the soundscape for the game. So the answer to this is they've been inspired by the old sounds of it, and they've kind of added a little bit more of the futuristic one, so you get some humming and crackling of the plasma while charging it up, and it's really going to be awesome to have something like that. I think it's going to be a mix of new and old, and you know what, it does sound really cool, so I'm going to give him a pass on it. Unfortunately, the guy telling it just sounded on a complete downer. I think he said he worked for PlayStation, but damn, just listening to him, you feel like you're listening to a university professor, you're just falling asleep. But honestly, yeah, good answer. This is actually going to be really cool to hear the plasma pistol, and hopefully we'll get to hear that soon. The next question is, will enemies shooting at your friendlies still be loud for you, or is it just a thing when you're personally targeted? I worry about the situational awareness up close. How quiet are we talking here? So this was actually something which I didn't know anything about. It's threat prioritization. What it is something which is a threat is louder. So for an enemy shooting at you, that's meant to be a decently high threat, but in actuality, when teammates were shooting, that was one of the loudest things as well, and you was right by your teammates, so it always muffled the enemies shooting at you and teammates. By making it so that the teammate shooting is lower down the priority list, especially as you're going to be close to them anyway, the enemy shooting will be a higher threat, so it will make more noise so you'll know where the enemies are. That's pretty interesting. You know, that's pretty cool to think of it that way, and it's also going to be very good for the game because you're going to start knowing where enemies are, you're going to be able to engage the map a little bit more, and more awareness of what's actually going on around you. So yeah, that sounds fantastic. I can't wait to see it. The next question is, will the music be adaptive like it was in earlier Halo titles? Will the tracks play out differently depending on the gameplay state? So the answer to this is yes, the music is going to be based off what you're doing. They're going to be trying to have AIs in there which can predict your intentions, which sounds really scary out of context, but they will be able to tell whether you're standing back and sniping, whether you're fully engaged, whether you're moving in. You'll be able to have music happening before an encounter, and then when you go into the encounter, the music will kind of shift into a combat-esque kind of scenario music and all stuff like that. It sounds very fun. And I think as well, they said when you're going through the campaign, the more you go through it, the different things which happen, the music changes based upon that. So they've got like about so many hours worth of music for us to listen to, but they just can't show us yet until the game comes out because it kind of has spoilers to it. But yeah, the music's meant to be very adaptive, and you know what, it sounds really awesome. The next question is, what's the toughest sound effect to design or implement that you're allowed to talk about, and why? So it took them 4 minutes to answer this question, but the simplicity of it is, it's wildlife and vehicles. And to give a bit of a reason why, with animals and stuff like that, they have to get loads of different animals from the real world and then combine it and splice it to make it sound like different animals in Halo Infinite. but at the same time, I don't want to make it appear like there's multiple different animals doing this. They want to make it so it sounds like one totally new animal, and they've got to put all the different ways the animal can sound. So is it going to be panicked? Is it going to be, just chilling? Is it going to be sleeping? Stuff like that. And also the other thing which they said was definitely the most difficult was vehicles, because they don't have things like these big engines to actually get the sounds for. They have to combine different elements to it, and again, that's quite difficult to do. So yeah, don't know why it took him so long to answer this question, but wildlife and vehicles. The next question is, the differences in teammates' audio when shooting compared to enemies is awesome. Can we expect the same for footsteps, and does this apply to yourself as well? So there are 3 different kinds of footstep sounds. There are your teammates, your own, and the enemies. So this is a little bit weird to have different sounds for teammates and enemies. I guess that's going to be helpful. I'm not too sure why teammates and enemies are walking weird. Maybe it's because my teammates always appear to be handicapped, so that might be why they're walking weird and it makes a different sound. But yeah, they're going to be having this 3D mode audio kind of stuff, so I'm guessing that's going to be like maybe an actual visual cue to say if a flag's being taken in CTF. But yeah, there's some interesting things about sound, like mini details, but we're not going to really see that until we actually see gameplay. The next question is, are the tracks from the E3 2018 announcement trailer and the Discover Hope trailer from the following year going to be a part of the 3 to 4 hours of Infinite OST? Loved these tracks. Okay, so the answer to this is the 2018 announcement trailer, no, and it's very unlikely that's going to be part of it. However, the Discover Hope trailer is actually the opening cinematic, and we're going to be able to play parts of that, so I think the campaign starts there now. I think a lot of players thought we'd be starting on San Helios again and then kind of going through some of the fighting which we had. But apparently not. That might not be happening. At least we know that the Discover Hope part is near the beginning, at least, if it's the opening cinematic trailer. The next question is, what's the weirdest sound you've recorded for Hengel that transformed itself into something completely different? So the guy rambled on for about 2 minutes, and I think the answer was he doesn't know. He lives with sound all the time, and he's always recording stuff, so he doesn't know. I don't know. This one guy just rambles on about stuff and doesn't give answers. I think he's a good representative for 343. The next question is, does bigger mean louder in terms of the awesome threat priority system when it comes to vehicles? How does object/source size play into both design and threat priority? So for this system, they basically started looking at things like how much damage an enemy can deal, the distance, the scariness of it, and I think they were saying that some things didn't work and they was kind of playing around with trying different things, but I think that ultimately what they're saying is now it's working, so now it's going to prioritize the biggest threats and who can deal the most damage to you, various things like that. It was a little bit confusing because they started saying we did this, but that didn't work. And then we did this, and that didn't work. But then we did this, and this. I was like, oh, okay, just tell me what works. But yeah, that's the best answer they can give. It's going to be cool, basically. It's going to be cool. The next question is, in the last sandbox inside Infinite, the team mentioned a new interactive damage tracking feature for vehicles. How did the audio team integrate sound design into this system to enhance the player experience? What they've decided to add is they've added things like sparks, steam and fire, which will actually be able to hear when the vehicles are damaged in certain areas. And also there's a Doom state, which is returning from Hengel 2. I don't think we've had it in any of the main series Hengel games for a long time, but this is very apparent and it tells you when the vehicle is about to explode, so that's pretty good to have. The next question is, it was mentioned that you were keeping music minimum in the multiplayer match itself. Does this mean that the music plays throughout the entire match, or just in the beginning / near the end? So the answer to this is they're not going to have it going throughout, obviously, but they will have it for the beginning, they will have it for the end. They'll have it leading up to the end as well, so when it's kind of even Stevens, who's going to get the next kill, who's going to get the last kill to win the game. Don't have it for stuff like that. And also big moments. I don't know whether this means like grabbing a power weapon or, getting a multi-kill. I'm not too sure what they meant by these big significant moments, but it's something to look out for. They said it's going to be kept to a minimal, so don't worry, it's not going to be constant multiplayer, especially for competitive, but I mean, it's pretty cool to have music. I like the introductions, and I think in Halo 4, the music when it's about to end, that's kind of nice, and it kind of says, hey, the round's ending, come on, let's do something hype. The next question is, will any of the existing sound design we've heard in the 2020 gameplay demo be adjusted, or will that just be left intact? The answer to this is they're going to be refining the weapons a little bit. All the weapons are going to be a little bit refined. The Mangler and the Ravager are actually going to be 2 weapons which were really refined, a little bit more, really changed quite a bit. But most weapons will sound the way that they did in the work in progress demo, so yeah. It's more or less going to be the same, but just a little bit more refined. The next question is, I really enjoy the different firefight voices in Halo 3 ODST and Reach, and I also really like the different multiplayer announcers from the Voices of War announcer pack in Halo 5. Will anything like this be available in Halo Infinite? So for the announcer voices, they're not going to have that. I don't think they want to remake that, although it was pretty cool in Halo 5. I never wanted to buy it, but they could have made some serious money from that thinking about it. But no, they're not going to be doing those announcers, but they might be making some things for firefight voices. They said that they like customizations, but they can't tell us what it is, so it might be that. I mean, they just couldn't tell us, but they kind of hinted at it, so maybe they're going to be having firefight voices make a return. The next question is, will all the music in the game be DMCA free, so it's able to be played on stream? Or will we need to mute the music to be safe? Unless something changes, yes, it should be for free. That's their intention at least, but again, if something happens, they might change this. The next question is, I really love the fact that the wildlife in this game already sound like cool side ambience. I am interested to know how you went about making the sounds for the wildlife. The answer to this is they are using animals from all over the animal kingdom. Some of them are quite exotic, and they're also using quite a few pugs, which are less exotic but still important to some people. The next question is, the Forerunner interiors sound epic. I can't wait to explore the insides of Zeta Halo, but is Jeff Steiner making a return to the multiplayer announcer? His voice is the true sounds of Halo. Well, it's good news because he is back, baby! Apparently he's going to be saying some really cool things as well, so we cannot wait for that. The next question is, when can we expect to hear another song from the Halo Infinite soundtrack? So nothing yet, because it might be spoiler-esque for some of the things which are going to be happening. And they've also got the other ones already up, but they've just got no planned dates to actually release more music because spoilers, and somehow it would link into it. I'm not too sure how it would, but they really just want us to experience it in game. They did also mention that some of the songs are actually called things like Rise of This Person or Fall of This Person, so that's why it would be really spoiler-esque. But yeah, that's quite interesting. Who's going to be the fall of? Fall of an enemy? Fall of a Spartan? Oh no. Locke gonna die again. So the next question is there a certain BR the Halo Infinite version is based off of? And what weapon was used to record for the new BR? So this version of the battle rifle is based off the Halo 2 battle rifle. I think that's very obvious just looking at it. But also the real life weapons which was based off was the FN Scar and I think the FN M240P. They also, and this is amazing, they've actually used a low energy sonic boom which they've recorded. So all these guns have been mixed together. There's more guns mixed into the mix, but there's so many cool guns which have been thrown in, and yeah, FN Scar Fortnite fans might want to use the battle rifle. They also mentioned, and I think this was a little bit silly, they mentioned but there was nothing but praise. However, there have been quite a few people who have said that they're not too keen on the actual sound of the battle rifle because it sounds too punchy and not like the metallic sounds which we got in Halo 2, Halo 2 Anniversary and Halo 3, so not too sure where they're getting those sources from. I think they've got a very selective group on Twitter who are feeding information back. But with that said and done, that is all of the questions which 343 Industries have answered. We've trimmed down a 30-minute video into a 13-minute video. That's absolutely amazing. And think about it, we've also had a little bit of an introduction and this outro part, which has actually added a little bit more time to it. But we need to actually get some questions in about the multiplayer. Audio's fine, but where's the actual multiplayer? I'm going to be making a video very soon about assassinations. That's currently on the list. We've actually had to stop doing that just because we needed to get this Halo Infinite Ask 343 questions out. So thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And also make sure you watch the assassinations video which is coming out soon. It is a really good video. It's some 7 assassination ideas which we've got. And yeah, thanks for watching guys, and we will see you in the next one. Peace out.